Good morning. Right now I'm currently walking along the beautiful beach with Çağatay. While we're taking our refreshing morning walk, we'll also be having a pleasant general chat.
Hello, I'm Çağatay. I'm the founder of Beef Studio. I'm also a UI UX designer. Go ahead, the floor is yours, Mr. Enes.
Hi, I'm Enes. I'm the proud founder of Reserve. As a dedicated designer, I both fully embrace that creative role and, like all committed founders, I'm very actively involved in all essential processes such as comprehensive team management and crucial client relationship management. Actually, today Çağatay and I thoughtfully considered that we could discuss a bit more extensively about what it truly means to be a founder. So Çağatay, as a founder, specifically as a designer founder, what do you think are the biggest pros and cons you've experienced? What do you think?
Well, there are a lot of pros, but there are quite a lot of cons too. Because honestly, doing both design work and running a company on your own is really tough. After all, since you have to start from scratch with many clients, you end up taking on the sales department yourself. You handle marketing directly, you talk to the clients yourself. Apart from that, you have to handle all the marketing efforts, marketing techniques and so on before even talking to the client, all by yourself. Meeting with the client, getting the brief from them, documentation, and all those tasks also fall on you. Then after you reach an agreement, you also have to take on the accounting department. There you also prepare the invoicing, contracts and so on. And finally you start working on the design. Again, you're at the center of everything. But of course the area where you put in the most effort is the design and development part.
So in your opinion, which area is the most challenging? Is it client management, or is it the accounting part here? Or is it focusing a bit more on leads? As a founder, which topics do you find the most exhausting?
Actually, since design doesn't tire me out, even though I spend the most time on design, it's also the easiest part for me because it's what I know best. I can actually say it's more about dealing with leads, so doing the marketing, communicating effectively with incoming clients, and maintaining the consistency of the company's communication principles and so on. I guess these are the things that are a bit more exhausting for me.
So can we say that? Yeah, I agree with that too. The lead generation part is a bit tiring because you have to be constantly active. Managing social media and all the channels, actively preparing posts for each one, then constantly hyping them up to keep them active, making sure they reach the right people, then turning that into a lead, and finally converting the lead into a sale. That's actually the most exhausting part. I think so too. I agree with that. So we can say that team management and the design part are actually a bit easier compared to this side of things.
Well, actually, it's like this. For example, when you look at it from Turkey, there's a platform called Rion, for instance, and I was a member there. For years, I got freelance jobs through that platform. Beyan was the same way. Since I was always working through those platforms, I never had to chase leads until now. So I have a listing, the client comes and directly messages me, then we talk and I get the job. That's it. But now, since we're turning more towards Europe, America and the Middle East, during this process, because clients don't know us and we don't have established credibility, we have to constantly chase leads and develop marketing techniques. That's why it's actually exhausting. Otherwise, in Turkey, it wasn't tiring at all.
As Beef, you were always serving the Turkish market. You were continuing this within Turkey. Now you've expanded a bit more into the American and European markets.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, for years you served the Turkish market, basically just one market. So when you open this up to a completely different market, what's the biggest challenge you face? I mean, what do you struggle with?
My biggest challenge? Well, actually, I can say it's the language barrier. I speak good English. In fact, I even worked for about a year at a foreign company in Berlin. I was able to give presentations and such in meetings very comfortably, but this part is very important. When I present myself or my work in Turkish, or even before the work itself, I can express myself very well. I convey this feeling to the client very effectively, and I can really get across the message that I can do this job in the best way possible. But since I can't use the entire language as I want in a foreign language, sometimes this can be a problem, and when this problem occurs, the lead is automatically lost anyway. I think this is one of the biggest problems.
So can we say this? The persuasion process and the way you present things become more of a barrier for you.
Yes.
So for example, you mentioned that you actually continued your sales on various platforms like Rion. Now, you also have the topic of creating a new channel and continuing from there. So the channel has changed now. I mean, it's not Rion anymore. You're in a completely different market now. How do you find the channels here? According to what criteria do you choose and continue with these?
Actually, you can apply the same logic you use in Turkey to the global market as well. Because there is Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer and so on. But unfortunately, our Indian friends are working at such a high pace for such low prices that if you're just starting out and have no ratings, you have to start cheap as well. And in such a competitive environment, starting out at low prices can be really exhausting. That's precisely why instead, by utilizing channels such as Twitter, well, X now, and professional platforms like LinkedIn, and by significantly improving the SEO of our very own website to attract valuable leads directly from Google, that's pretty much the entire strategy actually.
So, what do you think about other design platforms like Dribbble and so on?
Well, with those, I keep them constantly updated.
Has Dribbble really died?
I think I haven't received any lead messages from Dribbble in the past year, but I keep getting them from Behance. Some of them are spam and some are low budget clients. That's why I like being active on those platforms. I like highlighting the brand, but I guess it's not like before. Behance and Dribbble just aren't as active as they used to be.
I completely agree with this. The number of leads we've received from Dribbble in the past year is very low, and the quality is also quite poor. At the same time, there are also a lot of spam messages. You know, like those who just move everything to Telegram and try to continue from there. There are quite a lot of those kinds of situations too. Honestly, I think the most logical place for lead generation right now is X. I agree with that. Especially if you want to take part in a particular market, interacting with the founders there and moving forward from here is quite likely. So yes, I agree. So what do you think about the team? I mean, what do you use for team management? Like everyone else, we actually track our work on Slack. We also handle customer communication there. We mostly plan and manage our tasks within Slack as well. Actually, we've always used Slacks to do features too, because Notion or similar platforms are too complex for us, too complicated. I think they're more suitable for larger, more scaled teams. But I guess you already use Notion.
Notion Master?
Exactly.
Turkey's own. Well, actually, we certainly use a great many different applications, of course, but as much as you've thoroughly looked into me, you must have undoubtedly realized just how incredibly particular I am about these sorts of things.
Yes.
I'm kind of obsessed when it comes to documentation. I mean, everything from the past should be easily accessible, you should be able to analyze it and so on. Unfortunately, I spend way too much time on this, and that's one of my disadvantages.
Can we say you're a bit of an overthinker?
Yes, we can say that. So for messaging, yes, we use Slack. We're a bit different in the test area. There we use Asana.
Oh, right, I see, I understand.
Asana is nice, actually. With the free version, okay, we can invite clients, but for dividing up tests internally, it's extremely useful. Because we work on different projects. We can add them to different projects and organize our internal projects into separate folders and assign tests accordingly. Other than that, we use Notion for documentation. So for all kinds of documents, personal documents related to B, future plans and so on, I use Notion for everything. And actually, when sending a brief document to the client, sometimes I can do it on Notion as well. I can send it through Notion. After that, for invoicing in Turkey, I use Parachute. For foreign countries, I use Mercury. I prepare invoices through Mercury. In general, I guess we use almost all social media platforms like this. There are many design applications we use. So there are apps for the designs we use, but I'm not counting those. Usually they're for management purposes.
Now, I'd like to touch on a different topic, all right? In fact, I think this is the biggest problem. I think it's the biggest disadvantage of being a founder, saying, I'll do everything myself, and actually running the entire division of labor in a way that's under your control.
Yes.
I mean, this actually happens to me quite a lot. Especially the biggest part of this is definitely on my design side. When I have to entrust the design to someone other than my team, let's say, I always have a hard time handing it over. Because almost all of the clients I work with want a job that will continue the same design language as mine. How should I put it? Yes, I mean, we work with really great designers. I'm also very satisfied with each of their work. There's no problem with that. But I mean, at some point I always get stuck and feel like I have to take over myself.
Yes.
Yes, I think there's a similar issue when it comes to finances as well. because no matter how much we work with people who do accounting or people who do this kind of work well, in the end, there's always this need to do a final check on that side.
Yes.
Let me take a look too. Like, where do we stand? How is it going? So, again, in these areas as well, there's a lot of, how should I put it, a tendency to focus on and check things over, especially for me.
Yes, that is indeed correct.
Now, on top of that, when you add in things like work control, sales, and everything else, I actually feel like all the burden is falling on me. I mean, in the sales parts too, you're already joining dozens of meetings. You know, you talk about them, you spend time on each one. You try to turn that lead into a sale. So when you take all of this into account, for example, I really struggle when it comes to dividing up the workload. This is actually the point where I struggle the most. So I've tried before to split this up and delegate it to several people, you know, basically trying to do it like big companies do as a company. But I don't know if it's because of my own obsessions or just not being able to do it fully. I haven't gotten very effective results. Right now, all the burden is still on me. I mean, in a scenario where there are two founders or two partners in the company, I think these things are actually quite good. When there were just two of us at user, management on this side was really easy. Because each person would take on a certain team, like design, framer, sales, etc. And things would move forward very smoothly.
Yes.
So what do you think about this? I mean, about taking everything on ourselves and just continuing like this?
Well, actually, here's the thing. This is really hard. It really is hard. It's easy to say it's hard, but when you actually get involved, it's truly difficult. You have to work like an orchestra. You can't even be the maestro. You have to be every single part of the orchestra yourself, and clients expect the best results from you. And besides that, you expect the best results from yourself and your team. In this process, you inevitably have to be very obsessive. You have to spend a lot of time. Actually, what we're doing, what you're doing, and I'm the same way, is a good thing. What we're doing is a good thing, not a bad thing, because it ensures that the work comes out perfect and of high quality.
Yes.
And thanks to this, people see us as good designers. In other words, in these matters, there are actually a few things we could do. First, we could lower the quality of our work and proceed as superficially as possible, just moving forward. In this way, we could produce work very quickly. We could talk to clients very quickly and so on, but the work would be low quality. I am not in favor of asking for this. The second option is to continue in the same way, gradually increase the numbers of our leads, reaching higher margins with less workload day by day. In fact, this is what I want to do most. I already give an example in the scenario where we do this. If we take on 1 or 2 jobs a month, and just focus on those, and spend more mental energy on other areas as much as possible, I think we would completely solve this problem this time. But when it comes to employees, or team members actually, it's a bit of a matter of luck. You need to actually explain yourself well. What do you want the employee to do? How do you want them to do it? You need to channel their skills properly to whichever aspect of the job is needed. In this process, I'm really very happy with my teammate. We have a really great team, but of course, it's not like it will be the same for everyone. That's how I can put it. I mean,
by the way, I don't really dwell on the issue of the lead level being high. How should I put it? I wouldn't say I disagree either. After all, even if the lead is high and you get a monotonous task, the control and the way the work is done, the style and manner still remain with you.
yes.
I mean, or how exactly should I put it really? I think on this side we should learn to think not so much as a designer but more as a founder. But this time it seems more reasonable to me to accept that there are people who can manage at least as well as you, if not better, at the same level of quality you have created, to entrust things to them and then to continue on that way. But I think this is a difficult skill to learn. I also think a person needs to accept this and move forward accordingly. But as a designer, I actually haven't been able to set aside that identity and fully step into the founder role yet. It's really hard. It's not the place you love. Yeah, actually I do love that too, but design is something completely different. I really enjoy it. Leaving behind something I enjoy so much and moving completely into a more managerial role, looking after other aspects, honestly doesn't really appeal to me. But in order to scale, I mean, for the company to scale, you actually need to set aside your designer identity and take on more of a role in these areas.
Yes, indeed, yes.
I don't know how they managed to balance this, how they kept it going. Many of the founders I've spoken to are like this. It's the same with developers too. They don't do the coding themselves, it's more like they supervise those who do. But when I asked how they made the transition, for example, all of them said they moved over without even realizing how it happened. I mean, this is a process, of course. They gradually evolved towards this, but I don't know how I would evolve because I've been working for 13 years.
Actually, you do evolve in some way. Just like those people you talked to said, I think these are things that happen all of a sudden. You look up and realize, without even noticing, that you've hired a few people while working. Now, the design process runs on its own without you needing to intervene. After that, in this process, you actually take part directly in the founding stage of the work. Because the wheel is turning and good work is being produced. At this point, they've come to understand your quality. You are only involved on the QA side. You check whether the work is truly high quality, if there are any mistakes, and so on. After that, since the designers are also good, the work gets done very easily. From this point on, your next goal is to channel investments correctly, then bringing in new leads, helping with the marketing side of the business.
Managing the team.
Exactly. So you automatically start focusing more on these things even if you don't intend to. Because you shift to this, you actually enter a loop at that point. New clients come in, money comes in, and you have to hire new employees. Once you get into this loop, the company starts growing on its own anyway. You can't really focus on design anymore one way or another.
By the way, it was the same for us when we reached 20 people as a company. I never really had any time to look at design myself anyway. So I was mostly dealing with team management and the issues of people in the team. We were moving forward by giving them good feedback on design quality and trying to guide them to the level and style we wanted. But yeah, this is actually nice, but I try really hard, you know. And then there's the enjoyment part. For example, if the design part is 49 for me and the other side is 51, I didn't really want this side that much and I didn't enjoy it.
I mean, you're right, but there's also this, if we didn't enjoy design this much, if it wasn't our hobby, if we didn't love this job so much, our quality wouldn't have reached this level. I guess if we weren't so passionate, we wouldn't still be doing this job with such a heavy workload. I think this is the key point for a designer or for anyone who wants to do any kind of work. You absolutely need to do the work you love. That's when you become limitless. I mean, 24 hours, 72 hours, 48 hours. I know how many times I've worked those kinds of hours. I've never complained. I've always continued with love, always thinking about how I could do better.
It's the same for me too. It's a whole different thing, really.
Yes.
Our appearance,
As long as we keep things moving.
I'm tired.
It's hot. It's October, or rather we're about to enter October. It's the end of September, but the weather in Mersin is perfect.
We'll talk about another topic tomorrow or the next day.
Exactly. Take care.